Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving deep into a powerful wave of voices echoing from across America and Africa. Voices rising against neo-colonial agendas, imperialist narratives, and weaponize of national security. This isn't just commentary, it's a bold stance from several spots to Okal Godu. Citizens are speaking up about AFRICOM's role, Western influence, and the revolutionary leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso. As more African nations like Mali, Chad and Namibia push back against French occupation and reclaim their sovereignty, the world is watching and reacting. From fiery critiques of American foreign policy to heartfelt admiration for African resiliency and vision, this video captures the raw truth, unfiltered perspectives and unwavering solidarity with the African liberation movement. This isn't just about politics, it's about power, truth and the future of global independence. Stay logged in, because what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew.
The world's terrorists are the United States. Look what we did to Iraq. Look what we did to Libya. Libya, the most successful country in all of Africa. The guy created the eighth wonder of the world with the way how he delivered water and turned deserts into farmland. And everybody had a house and everybody had education and healthcare. And we turned it into a failed state run by terrorists with open slave markets. Who did that? Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton did that. And they'll never have to pay a price for that. Barack Obama, the most he'll do is go, that was a mistake.
Now, why did they get rid of Gaddafi?
Because he was going to start a currency of Africa that was going to compete with the U.S. dollar and the euro. And they can't have that because the way the United States controls the world is because the United States dollar is the reserve currency of the world. So that's why they can put sanctions on all these countries. And so what they're doing, which they shouldn't do, they're weaponizing the U.S. dollar. And so like when countries want to trade with each other, they have to go take their currency, change it into U.S. dollars so they can trade. And a lot of it was based on the petrodollar, which, by the way, Saudi Arabia just quit. They didn't renew it. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
So, and all of a sudden, CBS News is starting to do news stories about how Saudi Arabia was involved in 9/11. All of a sudden, 24 years later, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? Turns out there was something happened with them. And they're like, you mean 2 weeks after they decided to not renew the petrodollar? Now CBS News is allowed to talk about that and investigate it, which when I talked about it, got demonetized. But anyway, that's why, because Gaddafi was doing that. He was going to set up a currency for all of Africa, and it was going to be based on, have a gold standard. And so they're like, no, you're not.
My African family, and many of y'all know right now, most of us in America do not agree with this man right here. And what he's doing on behalf of America, trying to destabilize the country and demonize Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, they ain't got nothing to do with us. As a matter of fact, this man right here is a living example of how what they do there internationally in y'all countries, you see what I'm saying? When they able to pick and find different individuals to do their dirty work and make sure that the democratically elected officials in y'all country is being criminalized and having they justified invading y'all countries. Right now, this man is trying to talk down on Ibrahim Traoré and saying that the reason why he took the gold reserves from his colonizers is because he's trying to take the gold for himself. This is the type of language that starts to swirl around and then it becomes the reason why we should invade a country. As a matter of fact, I looked this man up right here. He from Shreveport, Louisiana. You feel me? Graduated from University of North Texas in, UTA, you know what I'm saying? University of Texas, Arlington. Got a master's degree in national security. Why would he be picked to be the head of AFRICOM and he has a master's degree in national security? Oh, got a whole bunch of experience too in doing different platoons and going in, invading and destabilizing countries. Then I seen a little video of him, The video is somebody asking him about coups and about training individuals to go and, you know what I'm saying, take over countries. And his responses was very curious, to say the least. All I want to say is to my people in West Africa specifically, if this man, you know what I'm saying, is one of the reasons why they didn't have any assassination attempts on, listen, us African Americans, we do not stand by what this man doing. As a matter of fact, I'm almost appalled what he's doing. You feel me? At the international, I'm not surprised. I'm appalled because his sisters and brothers and nephews and nieces, they in America right now dealing with what they commander-in-chief Trump is doing, and they making it where your kids don't even, or your family won't even have access to higher education, and make it where they can get a master's degree in national security. Funny how the degrees always don't matter, and the academia is bad. except for when you get one in national security and you can help the empire forward way instead of natural resources, especially when it comes to countries in Africa. And the last thing I say about this, y'all seeing the internal link between African countries having independence and autonomy over their own natural resources and its relationships to American stability. I.e., if they control their own shit, that causes instability for America. Now, remember, they looking for the gold reserves here in America, Remember, you know what I'm saying? You see my little, you got 10 carats right there, a little 14 right there. But listen, though, we know that they was looking in them gold reserves, and there was rumors around that they might not have that gold in there. I got a little hypothesis, you know what I'm saying? It can be proven true or false, you know what I mean? That the gold they've been evaluating and valuing at whatever number they got, that's not really in there. They've been already plotting on this, man, because ain't no way they're gonna let an African control African resources. It's gotta be controlled by France. It's gotta be controlled by America. If they got gold over there, some type of European Western country gotta be the main beneficiary, or else it causes instability to the whole entire globe, and we can't have that. So we gotta go find us an African American that look like them to be able to do our dirty work, because if they come out of his mouth, it'll be a little bit more believable on it. Education is innovation, no it won't. Shout out to Africa, man.
So Burkina Faso, Mali, and Namibia were all three countries that forced France out of their country, right? And now you have Chad. The president of Chad, Mohamed Deby, ordered for France to get out of their country today. And it's going to be epic, y'all, because so many different countries and places in Africa are literally saying, fuck you, France. They're not allowing it anymore. And then this blackout that just happened in Europe is only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
Uh-oh, I know y'all knew this video was coming. See, it's the Uncle Tom and Uncle Ruckus sellouts like this man right here that's been over there married to this white lady in France all this damn time, and they gonna go against the grain on your own kind, all because he ran them colonizers up out of there, all because he stood up and made France go back home, and now you want to kiss their ass because you married to a lady from France. Don't nobody respect nobody like you, man. You are what Africa do not need. You are not a leader. You are a sellout, my guy. And we don't respect you out here. And when I come to Africa, I hope we overthrow you too, because you don't deserve to be the president anywhere in the world. You ain't nothing but a peasant to them motherfucking France people, man. Real talk. It made me angry just looking at you, man. You hate to see another great black man in power, another black man that they actually respect, somebody that is doing great things, that is actually changing the way of African nations has been running all these years. I cannot stand you, buddy. And one thing about Turo, he gonna keep surviving in those attempts, but after a while, it won't be no more attempts once we start getting rid of the cowards like you and that.
France occupied Burkina Faso for generations. They stole gold and uranium, billions of dollars of resources for pennies on the dollar, while the people of Burkina Faso suffered. But Burkina Faso's new revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, says no more. Traoré has kicked out all of the French troops from his country in Africa. He has banned exports of gold to Paris, and he has dropped French as the official language of Burkina Faso. It's a total cultural, political, and economic reset. Now, obviously, French President Emmanuel Macron is kind of upset with all of this. He has made his position known. And President Traoré beautifully responded. He said, if anyone is ungrateful, it is him, Emmanuel Macron. France exists today thanks to our ancestors. They should pray for us. And Burkina Faso is making it clear that this is not about some attack on France. This is about independence and sovereignty. Just last week, Burkina Faso's President Traoré decided to release 4 French spies who were guilty of attempting to commit a coup against the president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, in 2022. The message is clear. Burkina Faso is not the pawn of France or the Dutch or the United States anymore. But forgiveness is also at the heart of their revolution. Traoré says that this is not just a split, it is a revolution with global ripples. I couldn't have said it better myself.
He also insulted all Africans.
I think they forgot to say thank you to us. It's not a big deal. It will come with time.
There is a part that caught my attention where he talked about ingratitude.
Gratitude, I am well aware, is a non-transmissible disease to humans.
He is human. Our ingratitude is not transmissible to him. This is how this gentleman sees Africa, sees Africans. We are not human in his eyes. I think that if he is not an atheist and he prays, Every morning when he wakes up and prays, he should also pray to the Africans. Because it is thanks to our ancestors that there is a France today, he should pray to us.
I love Africa. It's so difficult to watch Ibrahim, I can't even say his name, Traoré, in his speeches and not be absolutely like shaken to the core at the absolute dedication he has to his people. And of course, that's a threat. That's a threat to colonialists. That's a threat to the West. Having anyone who is able to gather people that were ultimately very divided in a very large continent is a threat. If you don't know, Ibrahim has already survived over a dozen assassination attempts. I think it was like 18 or something. And of course, France is threatening him. He has taken upon himself in Burkina Faso to build roads. He's putting in the infrastructure. He's taking it away from private companies to ensure there's no corruption through there. And they are on the ground building roads right now, building the infrastructure that Africa deserves. He has taken control over their own resources. And of course, this is a huge threat because these colonial nations like France, they profit off of exploiting Africa, and they always have. A continent as rich in resources and culture like Africa, being independent and being free and being able to profit for its people, oh my God, now that's a whole new world.
So let's get straight to the point. There is a growing frustration both here in America and across Africa about the manipulative role of Western powers, especially the United States and France, in African politics. What we are witnessing today with figures like a Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso is not just a push for national sovereignty. This is a full-scale revolution against model-day colonialism, and it's long overdue. Burkina Faso, Mali, Libya and now Chad are saying enough is enough. They have expelled French troops, they have reclaimed their gold, their language, their land and their narratives. And what is the reaction from Western powers? Demoralization, fear, propaganda. Why? Because control is slipping through their fingers and the old playbook no longer works. Let's talk about AFRICOM, America's military footprint in Africa. The man at the center of this controversy, reportedly from Shreveport, Louisiana, with a background in national security, is being called out not just for his actions, but for what he represents. Many people in Africa do not support these foreign policy moves. They don't stand with this intervention, and they certainly don't understand with anyone being used as a mouthpiece for imperial interests, no matter where they are from. Now, some are pointing out that this official has a history, platoons, military experiences, intelligence work. All of that is fine until you realize it's being weaponized against democratically elected leaders and popular revolutionary movements in Africa. The same man is accused of vilified Ibrahim Traoré for seizing gold reserves from colonial powers, trying to spin it as a self-interest rather than national liberation. That is exactly how narrative gets twisted to justify intervention, sensation, or even regime change. And let's not forget history. Look what the U.S. did to Libya. Gaddafi had transformed his nation, free housing, free healthcare, education, even as a massive irrigation system that turned the desert into farmland. But when he tried to move Africa off the dollar and build a gold-backed African currency, he became a target. Obama and Hillary Clinton helped turn Libya into a failed state. Open-air slave markets exist there now. That is the legacy of U.S. foreign policy in Africa. So when people see someone, especially a black man representing those same interests, actively working to undermine African leaders like Traoré, it feels like a betrayal. People don't just call it out, they condemn it. Now let's talk about Ibrahim Traoré. This young leader has survived over a dozen assassination attempts. Why? Because he refuses to be a puppet. He's building infrastructure, he's removing private corruption, he's nationalizing resources, he's rejecting French as the official language of his country. That is not rebellion, that is leadership. That is what liberation looks like in the 21st century. But of course, the West doesn't like that. France and the United States have a long history of backing coups, funding rebel groups, and spreading misinformation to destabilize nations that step out of line. And when those efforts fail, they resort to economic warfare, sensation, currency manipulation, media smear. And the hypocrisy is glaring. Here is the US, our own communities are struggling, mass incarceration, underfunded schools, systemic racism and growing economic inequality. But we have the audacity to tell African nations how to govern themselves. We spend billions on military operation abroad while people in distraught don't even have clean water. That is not democracy, that is empire. And then there is the personal angle. Many are calling out the fact that some of these US officials involved in African operation are married to Europeans, especially from France. Now, the issue isn't interracial marriage, the issue is allegiance. When your personal life is deeply tied to a nation that has historically exploited the country you are now overseeing militarily, your motive will be questioned, and rightly so. The people of Africa, especially in West Africa, are wide awake now. They are reclaiming their dignity. They are rejecting colonial currency like the CFA francs. They are kicking out exploitative corporation. They are saying, we will mine our gold, build our own roads, teach in our own languages. This is power. This is transformation. And yes, it's a threat to the West, not because it's violent, but because it's independent. And independency means the end of cheap labor, cheap resources, and the blind obedience. This revolution is not just physically, it's psychologically, cultural, and spiritual. Traoré isn't just building roads, he's building pride, and that is why they fear him. That is why the propaganda machines are full blast. That is why people are being labeled terrorists, extremists, or rugged leaders. Is the same tactics they used for decades. But this time, the world is watching. Social media has changed everything. People can see the truth in real time. They can hear theory speeches unfiltered. They can watch as villages turns into cities, as people rise from poverty to pride, and they are inspired. And let me say this to the African diaspora, especially African Americans. It's time we stood in solidarity. We know what it is like to be oppressed. We know what it is like to be lied to by our own media. We know what it is like to be criminalized for demanding freedom. So how can we not stand with our brothers and sisters in Africa who are doing the same? This moment is bigger than one man. It's bigger than Burkina Faso. It's about reshaping the balance of global power. It's about dignity. It's about repatriation. It's about ending the cycle of colonialism dictating the future of a continent they try to destroy. To the people of Africa and to every revolutionary leader fighting their people, I see you. We see you, and no matter how loud the propaganda gets, the truth is louder. And to those who choose to sell out their own people for a seat at the colonial table, your days are numbered. History will not remember you kindly. This is not the end, this is just the beginning. Thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, hit that like button, share it with your people, and don't forget to subscribe. For more real talk, deep dives, and unfiltered truths, this is your voice, your platform, and we are just getting started. Peace.